Hello, and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. In a world where we're inundated with assaults from ICE and aggressive policies from this administration, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that our democratic system is still working, quietly, persistently, and often behind the scenes. For every headline that fills us with despair, there are people fighting back. And today, I want to highlight one of them. Let's talk about Amien Kacou. Amien Kacou is a staff attorney at the ACLU of Florida, where he focuses on immigrants' rights and civil liberties. Originally from Côte d'Ivoire, he's been with the ACLU since 2017 and brings a global perspective and strong academic foundation, including a law degree and master's in global security studies from Johns Hopkins University. His career has been marked by a deep commitment to justice and constitutional protections. Now let's get into some cases. First, the case of Amien Kacou, Baker County Detention Center. Amien Kacou, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, a Salvador man has allegedly placed in prolonged solitary confinement. 88 days at the Baker County Detention Center under ICE supervision. During this time, he was brutally assaulted by an officer for singing in his cell. The result? A ruptured eardrum and permanent hearing loss. Kacou is representing Serbia in a federal lawsuit that challenges unlawful detention, excessive force, and due process violations. Second, a Florida Immigrant Coalition versus Amien. This case is about Florida's Senate Bill 4C, a law that allows state and local law enforcement to imprison people based solely on how they entered the country. Kacou and the legal team argue this law is unconstitutional overreach. A federal judge has already extended an order blocking enforcement of SB 4C, citing likely constitutional violations. Third, Harud St. Louis et al. Investors versus Jim Martin, ETALL. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, this habeas corpus case challenged detention conditions. Detainees were left vulnerable to COVID exposure, and Kacou helped argue that failure to mitigate that risk violated the constitutional rights. This case is a reminder that civil liberties must be defended, especially during crisis. And finally, the one many of you may already be familiar with, Peter Sean Brown versus Richard Ramsey. Brown, a U.S. citizen, was unlawfully detained at the request of ICE by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Despite clear evidence of his citizenship, he was held for deportation. Kacou and the ACLU team secured a federal court ruling that Brown's Fourth Amendment rights were violated. It's a landmark decision that reinforces a core principle. No one should be unlawfully detained, especially not a U.S. citizen, because of government error. These are just 4 examples of Kacou's ongoing work, but they represent something larger. Proof that the legal system, while slow, is still not silent. It is still moving, still pushing back, and people like Amien Kacou are the reason why. So when you're overwhelmed, when it feels like no one is standing up, remember this name. Remember this work. There is resilience in the system and in those who choose to defend it. Our sources for today's podcast come from the ACLU.org, ACLUFL.org, ColoradoSun.com, wikipedia.org. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.